Welcome back. You're watching Signature Morning here on Signature Television. We're live on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, just about everywhere on social media. You can grab the attention that you'll be looking for. All right. On YouTube, it's 24 hours non-stop. So we just move around the elections that we had over the weekend. The Edo State governorship elections, the Enugu State local government elections, and the Imo State's local government elections also that defied all odds. The winner of that election was announced, but there were no numbers released. That's quite interesting. We would speak to someone who has, been monitoring what's going on around the country, especially as it concerns these three major elections. He's a journalist and he's a publisher of the Summit newspaper online. Good to have you, Mr. Michael Barney.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having
You're welcome,
me.
sir.
Thank you.
How do you do, sir?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's a very cold morning, and we thank God that we are live today to, continue the business of informing the people on the happenings in our country.
Right. Which of them shocked you the most? The vote buying that happened in Edo State, or the fact that elections were announced in Imo State without numbers? They said this party has won all the local government elections, but there were no numbers.
Well, you mean numbers attached to?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
To each of the local government.
Of course, you expect, magic to, happen in our elections, especially in Imo State. That is a state where the candidate who came forth in an election, finally was declared the winner of that election. So when you have that kind of situation in a state, anything you expect anything in that kind of system, and when it was announced that a local government election was going to be held in Imo State, and with the configuration of forces in that state, knowing what the administration in that state is, one did not expect any fair, credible, and credible election. I felt that the election would not be fair, will not be credible, and nobody has proved me wrong with what we have on the ground. So there's no way you can announce winners of an election. The Constitution, the Electoral Act, does not provide for. In fact, the guidelines, of INEC and Imo State Independent Electoral Commission, none provided for a situation where you will announce winners without attaching figures to. So it's an aberration. For me, it's an aberration, and I think something must be done to correct whatever mistakes have been made. But we are in Nigeria where they will ask you to go to court, and it will take a whole lot of struggle to be able to convince the judiciary that the electoral body was wrong in announcing winner without attaching figures to those who won the election. So it didn't come to me as a surprise. Like I said, here is a state where the present governor who came forth in an election finally was declared winner of the election. So as we move on, we may even find a situation where they will announce that there will be election. I know, after announcing that there will be election, putting a date of the election, you won't see any electoral materials, you won't see INEC officers, you won't see any official of the electoral body. At the end of the day, and a result will be announced.
Yeah.
And they will ask you to go to court. And which court? It is their court. So I'm hopeful that time will come when our electoral system will improve. And the improvement will come as a result of the people getting more involved in our elections, because I think there is so much apathy. There's so much apathy when it comes to electing people who will govern us. If I wasn't in Imo State, during the local government election, but I have a feeling that very few people came out for the election. Those who were supposed to have come out were probably in the market, were probably in their farms, were probably doing business, one thing or the other.
What do you think would have been the reason for the apathy?
No, people have lost interest in what is happening because they think and they feel that their votes do not count, and no matter the number of votes cast for their particular candidate, that it will not count at the end of the day. And therefore, people have become disenchanted, disillusioned about our electoral system, and except the politicians, of course, except the politicians and the civil society organizations do something urgently to get people interested again in coming out for elections. It's whatever whatever they tell you, whatever the electoral umpire tells you is what you are going to, take at the end of the day.
If you look at the whole situation, one would have thought that the new government has taken over, especially in Enugu State. And this is the first local government elections under the Peter Mbah administration. He says it was a peaceful and democracy is taking shape in the state. And one wonders really, with what you saw on Saturday, did it look like something has changed, or is just the same thing all over again?
Well, for what happened in Enugu, as far as the Saturday's local government election is concerned, is for me, I commend the government for at least releasing money to the electoral body to conduct an election. That's local government election. And like we said the other time, that local government election is provide for a democratically elected councils is provided in our constitution. And on the basis of that, one would not even in Enugu State alone, but also in any state that a local government election had, taken place. The other issue is that, was this election credible? Was it fair? So I'm commending those state governments that, found it necessary to conduct local government election consistent with the provisions of the Constitution. And if we see the functions of local government council in Schedule 4 of our Constitution, you will crave for the emergence of a democratically elected government in local government councils, if you know their functions. So, coming to your question directly, the state government has done its duty by providing money for the election, local government election, by appointing the chairman of the electoral body, that's the Enugu State Independent Electoral Commission. And so it's left for the commission. So I'm not going to blame the government for what happened on Saturday. It is the electoral body that one should blame for the late arrival of election materials in the various polling units. In some polling units where one went to, by 12 o'clock, the election materials had not arrived. And don't forget the fact that on Friday, the 20th of September, yes, on the eve of the election, the Enugu State Independent Electoral Commission informed us, and we believed them, that they were 98% ready for the election. So it's appalling, it's annoying, and that by 9 o'clock the election had not started in about 60%, of the polling units in the state. By 10 o'clock, election had not taken off. By 11 o'clock, the election. So what I'm saying in effect is that we should be interrogate the electoral body why there was a delay. The government has done it, played its own role, except what they say that the
efforts to
government
speak to the
was in
INEC
cahoots
chairman
with
was not
the
successful.
council, the electoral body. Otherwise, I had one of the INEC people, NCEC people say on Saturday that their vehicle broke down, and that's why they arrived at a particular polling unit late. Did the vehicles of all the vehicles break down? Some said that there was rain, but most journalists got to the polling units long before the arrival of the electoral officers. And we are in the same state. We are in the same environment. So if a journalist could arrive on time, why not the electoral officer? So I am blaming the Enugu State Independent Electoral Commission for the mess that happened I'll call it mess because they told us that they were 98% ready by Friday. Okay, so what happened? So it's something that we should interrogate them, But unfortunately, our law does not provide for prosecution of any people at that position who, for one reason or the other, could not start election at the appropriate time.
Right.
The election result is already announced, and would you say the election outcomes are in line with public expectations, or are there some surprises emerged from this?
When you talk about public expectation, the public you talk about, I tell you, I did say that 75% of Nigerians, are disenchanted over our elections. They are disillusioned. They are not happy with what they saw in, 2023 election, and even the previous election. It is, if you go out there and ask anybody, they will tell you it's their business. They are not concerned about. What the Nigerian people are concerned is, can I put food on my table now? They are not interested in what they are doing. And you elect officer. These days, for instance, you have. Those days we used to know who is the commissioner for instance, we used to know who is the commissioner for finance, who is the commissioner for education, who is the commissioner for information, who is the commissioner for this or commissioner for that, who is the local government chairman, what's the name of the local government chairman or of this local government and all that. But today you don't know anything. A lot of people don't know, even in your own local government, you don't know your own local government chairman. You've not seen him, you've not seen what he has done, you are not interested in what he's doing, So if you talk about, public expectation, being overruled, I tell you that Nigerians are not interested. Most Nigerians are not interested in what they are doing, otherwise, there would have been an uproar. There would have been a protest over, some of these, results that, were announced in Enugu, in Imo, and maybe to some extent in
There's one that happened
State.
in Kwara, of course, and then the Sokoto. That was the local government elections. Well, we're going to go to Edo State shortly, but I just wanted to ask further questions regarding Enugu State. Is it a sense of despondency, or the fact that people don't really care about who rules them at that level? Because local government elections or local government administration should be the closest administration to the people. And people should be more interested in who leads at that level. And then you talk about the governorship and then the presidency. With what you have seen, is it not going to be the same thing that we have seen in the last 8, 10, 20 years, where there's just selection as long as the ruling party just selects people? Because again, what you call it is selection. There wasn't any internal democratic practices that was seen by the ruling party or even other parties to select people or to appoint people into those positions as card-carrying members or flag bearers of those parties. And then they just emerge, even without numbers. So you wonder, really, I mean, is it not the same circle that we are going to go? The air of despondency, the air of I don't care attitude that was before the 2023 general elections, and what are the implications of these I don't care attitudes?
Well, let's look at it from this point of view, and take a particular state as a state of analysis. If you look at Enugu State, for instance, few weeks to the local government election, a party like the All Progressive Congress Enugu State chapter had a leadership crisis. Changing of the chairman, their chairman, the state chairman of the party, few weeks to the election. A responsible political party will not do that. One would have expected them to say, okay, no matter our complaints, no matter the challenges that we are facing in this party, let us wait until the local government election had come and gone, then we begin to play our in-house politics. But a party like that, a party like the APC that decided to remove their chairman few weeks to the election, who will be there to organize, mobilize people for the local government election? So the APC in Enugu State was mad in crisis, few weeks to the local government election. And who gains? Who gains? It is the ruling party, the PDP in the state, that we gain at the end of the day, because this other party that ought to have provided a challenge, to the PDP is in disarray. Okay, so the other party that one would have said, okay, fine, if APC is not there to challenge the PDP, is the Labour Party. Again, 2 weeks to 2 weeks to the local government election, the Labour Party dissolved its state executives, and even the national chairman of Labour Party was removed, and a new what did they call it? They called it caretaker committee was constituted, and I think Enugu State now has an interim state chairman of the party.
Of Labour Party?
Labour Party.
In Enugu.
In Enugu.
Yeah.
So in that kind of situation, few days to the election, who is, because this other person is challenging, I'm still the chairman, state chairman of the party. This other one is say, I'm the new state chairman of the party. Where is the mobilization going to come from? So that is, and you may accuse the ruling party of instigating division, but there's no evidence to show that is the handiwork of the ruling party. So the parties are not, what I'm saying in effect is that the parties are not helping themselves, So, if you now begin to bring bitterness and rancor in your political party close to the election, then the result is already known. The outcome of the election is already known. The ruling party that has all the appurtenances of office, all the financial wherewithal to conduct election, will now go out there like what we saw in the Enugu State. There was massive mobilization of people, massive campaign. The party toured all the local government, councils, all the wards, 260 wards in Enugu State. The party, the PDP, toured all the wards, all the 260 wards in the state. We didn't see that happen with the other two political parties because they were in crisis. Okay, so at the end of the day,
there were even some local governments that they stood unopposed. There was nobody to contest against them. Like
So-
there were so many local governments within Enugu 70 local government area that PDP went unopposed. Like there was no opposition. There was nobody to say, okay, is there an alternative to this person? So that is how really bad. I mean, this weakening of our local government democratic system, where did it come from? What's the source? Would you blame it on the people or would you blame it on the political actors? Because some people think that sometimes these political actors have a role to play, you know, in all of these things.
I blame it on the political actors. I blame it squarely on the political actors. Because like I said, if you are interested in capturing political power, you will do everything humanly possible, everything consistent with the provisions of the law to ensure that you educate the people on the need, you know, for them to be part of the democratic experience, you know, by first of all by presenting themselves for you know, registration, you know, in a particular political party, by collecting the PVCs and ensuring that they are ready for election. But you see, what we are practicing in Nigeria is politics of the stomach. You know, and if I am in Party B and Party A is in power, if there is any way I can make an inroad, if there is any way I can have access to the ruling party, I will be a member of Party B in the daytime and a member of Party A in the night. And that's what we have seen. Or, you know, you see, let's look at things, let's look at what has happened in Enugu State, for instance. There's something they call presidential palliative. Presidential palliative. The president, for instance, in a state like Kano, the presidency released about 20 trucks load of rice to distribute to Kano citizens. Of course, I know that at the end of the day, the rice would have gone to members of the APC. Members of the APC in Kano State. It happened in the 36 states of the Federation. Did you hear any day that APC in Enugu State announced that they were going to distribute rice to citizens to cushion the effect of the economic hardship? No, you didn't hear. You didn't, but the rice came. The rice arrived. What happened? You know, they packed it in their various you know, houses.
Is it supposed to be a party thing or being headed by
well,
the
it's supposed to be for the state, every citizen of the state. Of course, it may not go round, but at least it will, you know, get. It's not a party thing. It's not something that you say, oh, you're in PDP, you will not get, or you are in a Labour Party, you will not get. But there should be there should be a way that the party in the state would have shared the rights to ensure that it gets to at least I think in the case of Kano State, they said it would go to 260,000 families. Okay, so if you come to Enugu State and say it will go to 200,000 families, for instance, we didn't see, and it was in Kano, in the case of Kano, in the case of Sokoto, in the case of Zamfara and Bauchi and all that, there was a public function, okay, where you know, a committee set up by the APC at the national level, you know, and that committee was set up for all the states, So here in Enugu, we are supposed to have a committee that is responsible for the disbursement of these rights. But that did not happen. It didn't happen. And so what I'm saying in effect is that few weeks to the election, 2 or 2 weeks to the election, when the sharing of rice, you know, started in other states. A political party that is interested in winning votes in the state would have made sure that these presidential palliative reached to at least 1/4 of their members, so that when you call them out to come and vote, they will come and vote. But if you collect things, collect materials, collect money, collect food items from the federal level, and you just put it for your family, for your family members. When you ask your members to come and vote for your party, candidates of your party, they will not be interested, because they will not be interested in coming out to vote, because they know that you are just there to make sure that you to line your pocket.
Absolutely.
You are there to line your pocket, and you are not there for the interest of the party or the. So, when politicians begin to think or behave in a way that will demonstrate that they are interested in the welfare of the people, okay, I think things may have take a different shape,
Some people think also it's because we're just 25 years on democracy, and so we have not reached that extent, the UK democracy or the United States democracy or other countries that have been around for a while and have practiced democracy for that long. So one would expect that, well, these things would happen because we are still young. I don't know if you share the same sentiments, and putting side by side what's going on in Edo State. How do you react to Edo State just before we wrap up?
Now, let's start from Edo State, for instance. If I were the governor of Edo State, what's his name now?
Obaseki.
I wouldn't have disagreed. I wouldn't have quarreled with my deputy governor, Felix Shaibu. Okay, I wouldn't have quarreled with him a few months to the election. Even a year to the election, I wouldn't have quarreled with him. And we saw a situation where Felix Shaibu was impeached as the deputy governor. The court returned him. Okay, he went back to his office, and this man Obaseki did everything to ensure that he sidelined Felix Shaibu. At the end of the day, what did Felix Shaibu do? Felix Shaibu joined the APC. He wasn't alone. He had supporters. Okay, he joined the APC. And don't forget the fact that you had a formidable figure like Adams Oshomole in Edo State. Don't forget the fact that this same Obaseki, and I'm very angry with Obaseki, after ruling for 8 years, he allowed the opposition. I'm not a member of the PDP anyway, but I mean, after ruling for 8 years, it won't happen to me. Nobody will take over power. No opposition party will take over power from me if I were governor. It only shows that the man didn't do, Obaseki himself didn't do well.
Good example, yeah.
It only shows. Look at the figure, look at the margin between the Monde Kwebo and, Ighodalo. Look at the margin. If it's not a slim margin, for instance. So what I'm saying in effect is that I expected the APC to win in Edo State against the backdrop of how Obaseki mismanaged the politics of Edo State, the politics of PDP in Edo State. Here is a man who was elected on the platform of APC. Okay. Along the line, he quarreled with his political godfather, Adams Oshomole. He got to a point where he was denied a nomination for his second term in office. Okay? And he ran to PDP. In fact, he ran to Wike. Wike promised him a ticket, gave him cover. He contested the election on the platform of PDP and won. Later, he quarreled with Wike. I'm not saying that Wike is a saint, but there are people, political actors that you should know, that he ought not to have quarreled with. Ought not to have quarreled with people like Wike. He ought not to have quarreled with people like Felix Shaibu. And after Felix Shaibu moved over to the APC, he took along with him all his supporters, and it counts, and it counted in the election. So Obaseki is crying that figures were inflected. A sitting governor, at the point on Saturday, he went into the INEC office.
And was walked away.
Was walked away.
Yes.
It shows that he's not sensible. There's something wrong with him. Even if INEC, what powers does he have to enter INEC office on the day of election when there is restriction of movement? It shows that's the kind of leaders that they impose on us.
All right. I mean, we just have to leave it there. There's still more to engage on, especially as it concerns these elections. So we're supposed to take them one at a time, but because of time, we cannot go beyond this.
No, let's keep. Let's keep talking about the election, and right. I think we need to get to a point where our people, Nigerians, should be interested in what happens and in who governs them. Nigeria should be interested in who governs them.
All right.
It is only at that point that you can get it right. But
right.
if I are you are disinterested, disenchanted, I say, oh, let them do what they want. I'm only interested in putting, buying a cup of garri, buying pepper, buying salt and all that. These things are very costly in the market. Every day we come out. Every day we come out, we think about
right.
how to feed ourselves. So.
We just have to leave it there, sir.
We'll keep on talking about it subsequently.
Thank you very much.
That is all for